welcome to Esther's Laguna Woods show, where every guest matters. Today we have a very special guest. He's a lawyer and his name is David Gershon. And today we're going to talk about estate planning. Hi, Dave.
How are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to all of you.
It's so
Pleasure
nice
to be here.
It's so nice to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, I can. My background is I've been a lawyer for a long time. I started practicing law in Chicago in 1969.
Wow.
And I was a divorce litigator for 15 years.
Wow.
And ended up not liking me. So I quit doing that and I came out to California. And I looked around and got into other businesses, and my wife said, "Why aren't you practicing law?" I said, "I don't want to go to court."
Yeah.
She said, "So find something that doesn't take you to court. You're a good lawyer."
Yeah.
So I found estate planning, and that's what I decided to do. So I'm atoning for my years of divorce law, and I do estate planning, and now I leave families better than I found them. It's a nice feeling at the end of the day.
Okay, so what are the benefits of estate planning in layman's terms?
Okay.
Layman's terms.
Plain speaking.
Layman's.
The benefits of estate planning are several. First of all, the people who are involved are easier in their minds. They have peace of mind because they've done something to make sure that their family is taken care of. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The other things are that they've made sure that their family is taken care of in a way that they want to happen, not the way the state wants it to happen. Because if you don't plan, the state has a plan for you. You're not going to like it.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to happen. So estate planning is really critical to accomplish the goals that you have for your family. And that's what we do. And of course, estate planning is much larger than just a will or a trust.
How many different types of estate planning are there? There must be so many, huh?
Well, there are a lot of different types of estate planning platforms, if you will.
Yeah.
But they all depend on two things: the size of the estate and the objectives or the goals of the people doing the planning. So when you look at those two things, naturally it's going to lead you to a particular type of plan. And almost always in California that's going to involve a trust. Because the whole purpose in California of having a trust is twofold. One, you want to get rid of the idea of probate. Probate's a horrible experience. Two, you want to control absolutely the distribution of your estate the way you want it to take place. And so a trust gives you that possibility. And if it's properly drawn, you've taken care of everything.
Okay, can people make their own will? I mean, how do you make a legal will by yourself?
It's called a holographic will.
Yeah.
And technically it has to be in the handwriting of the person writing it.
Yeah.
And it has to be dated and signed.
Yeah.
Technically, a will must be witnessed by two disinterested people.
Yeah.
Those are people who can't inherit by law. And so, but a holographic will that's completely in the handwriting of the person and dated and signed can be approved by a probate court without witnesses.
Oh, wow. What about a trust? Can somebody do their own trust too?
Yes, absolutely. They can also take out their own appendix, fix their own color television. Okay. As a matter of fact, I had someone call me and said, "Can I do an amendment to my trust myself?" And I said, "You have that power. That by doing it yourself, you're held to the same standards that a lawyer is, someone who knows what they're doing. And if you don't do it properly, you can create an amendment that is legally invalid." Okay.
So what is better, a will or a trust?
In California, if you have real estate worth more than $50,000,
Yeah.
Or if you have no real estate, but you have assets, which in the aggregate are worth more than $150,000, you are a candidate for probate. Your estate will go to probate.
If it's 50,000
$50,000 in real estate. What is that? That's a closet.
Yeah.
So if you have either of those circumstances, you should have a trust, because it's really important to avoid probate. And the reasons are evident. Talk to anybody who's been through probate. It takes almost 2 years on average now to go through probate in Southern California. 2 years. That's 2 years that you can't get past it. You're in psychological turmoil and chaos. You can't get away from the drama. It's hard to justify. The cost is also extremely high. I've heard where the average cost for probate in Southern California is 8% of gross value. That means they don't care what you owe on anything. They look at the gross value. 8% of that is going to be absorbed in probate costs. How do you justify that? A trust, you don't have any of that.
So in estate planning, do you need a trust and a will, or you need both?
Great question. In an estate plan, you want all of these documents, and you'll notice
what are they?
There is a will here. So you're going to have a trust which will govern everything in the trust. You'll have a will in a properly prepared, comprehensive estate plan. It's called a pour-over will, and it pours into the trust. Basically, it's a safety net. And so it says, when I die, if I forgot to put something in my trust, I leave it to my trust. So it's a safety net. That's the kind of will we use in a properly prepared estate plan.
Okay, so when should somebody do an estate planning? I mean, when is the right time to do it?
My youngest client was a 29-year-old single man.
Yeah.
He was not married, obviously, single. He had no children. He bought his first condo. And he came to me, he said, I want to get a trust. And I said, I applaud you, but I would like to know why you think you need a trust.
Yeah.
He said, well, I know I don't have kids, I don't have a family, a wife. He said, but I have parents, and if I die without a trust, they're going to inherit a huge load of trouble. They're going to have to go through probate, they're going to have to go through all of the aggravation. They don't need that, and I shouldn't put them through that. So, if you have real estate and you live in California, you need a trust. That's my opinion. If you don't have real estate, but you have a substantial asset base, you need a trust. Because the idea is you need to avoid probate. And none of us know when we're going to be faced with probate. So it's called planning for a reason. Do you have car insurance? Yeah. Are you planning to have an accident? No. Do you have medical insurance? Same answer. Of course I have medical insurance. When are you planning to have that urgent surgery? I'm not planning on it. Oh, do you have an estate plan? No. So we plan for everything that might happen, but we don't plan for what absolutely will happen to each one of us. And so it's important to get the ball moving while you can. It is not something you can come back and do when you need it. And I've gotten calls. I've gotten calls from other lawyers and from people that, can you come out and see somebody do a trust? I said, yeah. Well, can you come out tonight? Yeah. Do you think you could have the entire set of documents done by tomorrow? What's the situation? I had a 40-year-old guy had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, yeah?
And they didn't expect him to get through the next day.
Oh, that's...
We went out. I took his information down. I got all the information that I needed to create his documents. I went back. I worked through the night, got everything done. Went back the next morning with a mobile notary, got everything signed. He died that afternoon.
Wow.
He knew he was on the edge. What most of us don't realize is we're each on the edge.
Yes.
You never know.
Yes.
So when is the right time? Now. One word. Now.
What is the difference between revocable trust and irrevocable trust?
Okay. A revocable trust is a trust that you can make changes to during your lifetime. Okay? If you are the creator of the trust, you can make changes to that trust. You're in charge of it. You can change beneficiaries, distribution, any part of the trust you can change. An irrevocable trust, you can't be in charge of. You can't make any changes to. There are very few circumstances where an irrevocable trust can be an advantage.
Yeah.
But even in many of those circumstances, there are other steps you can take. For example, you can use an irrevocable trust for people who want to protect against creditors' claims.
Yeah.
All right? You have to be very careful about the construction of the trust. You can only protect against those creditor claims that you don't know about and wouldn't be able to know about with any diligence. If you knew about a claim or you knew it was coming down the pipe, that's not going to protect you. Courts generally don't like irrevocable trusts. They want to be able to get through that that shield and get to the assets. There are other times when an irrevocable trust can be an advantage. For example, if you have a child with special needs, you want to be able to put stuff into a special needs trust that should be irrevocable so that your creditors can't get to it and the child is protected. But by and large, there are very few circumstances where an irrevocable trust will be better.
Yeah, that's
than
what
a
I want to ask you.
revocable
What's better, irrevocable trust or
Almost
revocable
always
trust?
a revocable trust is better.
Irrevocable trust is better?
Revocable.
Oh, revocable trust is
Yeah.
better, huh?
Yeah, because things change in your life. You want to be able to accommodate those changes. People get divorced, people die, people change.
Ah,
And so you can have a family with, let's say you've got 4 children and they're wonderful children and you have a trust and they each get 25% and it works beautifully until one of your kids gets involved with drugs. Okay? What do? If it's an irrevocable trust, he's going to get 25% of your estate and then within a week he'll be dead.
yeah, we'll be done.
If it's a revocable trust, you can change, and I actually had this circumstance. So that what we did was we used the trust to incentivize this child to make better life decisions. He got his 25% at 10% a year,
Yeah.
but he had to pass 3 random drug tests every year.
Really?
If he failed the drug test, he forfeited. So he was incentivized. We weren't going to punish him for his problem.
Wow.
We were going to motivate him to stay clean.
Wow. Now, let's talk about power of attorney. How many different types of power of attorney does somebody need?
Many, many types exist.
Yeah.
A comprehensive estate plan will always have at least 2. One is a general financial power of attorney.
Yeah.
And this is to protect against having assets outside of the trust. For example, someone has everything in the trust except they get an investment check every month or every quarter, and it comes in the mail instead of being directly deposited into a trust account. While it's on their kitchen table, it's not in the trust. If something happens to the person that it's written out to, their agent can still deposit that check and pay the bills and take care of business. The biggest part of the financial power of attorney is a paragraph that should be in every financial power of attorney to obstruct the state of California from becoming your conservator.
The guardian, whatever.
Yeah.
Is this the same thing?
They love to get their people in your pocket, and you can't stop them from trying. It's part of their authority as a state.
Yeah.
But you can obstruct them by saying, if there's ever any proceeding initiated to have a conservator appointed for me, I nominate my people. And so you put your people in charge of that. The state can't get their people into your pocket. What happens? The state goes away. There's no upside for them. They're not going to get into your money. The other power of attorney is called the Advanced Healthcare Directive. This is crucial, absolutely crucial.
What is that?
This is a power of attorney. We used to call it a durable healthcare power of attorney, where you appoint someone to make medical decisions for you if you can't make them yourself. And so the two biggest decisions, of course, are end of life and donating body organs at death. So why is this crucial? Because the people who have to make these decisions shouldn't be making them on their own. If they make them on their own, they're going to carry guilt. If you can say to someone, look, I'm appointing you as my agent, but you're executing my decision. You can feel bad, but you don't have to feel guilty about it. If you have to pull the plug, that was my decision, not yours. That's huge.
So how does somebody prepare for estate planning? What do you have to do?
The best way to prepare for estate planning is take a look at your estate. See what you have. Okay? You don't have to get granular at that point, but you need to have an understanding of what you have.
Do you have to write everything down, everything that you have?
Not usually.
In the estate?
Not usually. For example, I include an assignment of personal property to the trust, so that all of the furniture, all of the furnishings, the artwork, the tools, the books, the jewelry, all go in the trust.
Without
an inventory. If it's in the house, it's in the trust.
Oh, without itemize it?
Yeah. And it includes personal property that's acquired later. So it covers that. We don't want a bunch of stuff hanging out there that's going to have to go through probate.
Now, sometimes there are new laws,
Yes.
After you do the estate planning, then there are new laws. So do you help somebody after you did the estate planning, do you help them with the new laws regarding the estate planning? I mean, like you said, like in 5 years, the taxes are going to change.
Yeah. The unified tax credit is the protected sum of money or value that you can leave to people without any federal estate tax. There's no estate tax in California as we sit here today.
Yeah.
There is a federal estate tax, and it's horrendous. The unified tax credit is the amount that you can leave to somebody with no estate tax. Last year, it was $5.5 million net, which is pretty good. This year, it went to $11.2 million net, which is even better. No estate tax. That change will expire in 2025, unless Congress does something about it. And we can anticipate Congress will do something about it. But if they don't, it'll revert back to the $5.5 million.
So,
as a general rule,
yeah,
anybody who has an estate plan should have it reviewed.
Yes.
Whenever
reviewed.
there is a life event, someone dies, someone gets remarried or married, changes, big changes. What is not a big change? I sold my house and bought a new one. That's not a big change. That's simple to take care of. Call a lawyer, I'll give you approximately 2 minutes of instruction. Mainly, if you don't have it in the name of the trust, put the new property in the name of the trust. I'll be happy to do that for you. No big deal. If there's a substantial change in law, it might be different. If there's no life event, you should review your trust not longer than every 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of folks wanted me to review their trust. Their trust was done in 1994. I reviewed it last year for them. It was the first time they had it reviewed.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
Even more unusual was the fact that their trust was not legally valid. They did not have a valid document.
Really?
Yes, and that
What
look on
didn't
your
it-
face is the look on her face when I explained
What
it to
didn't
them.
it make it valid?
The attorney inadvertently omitted something that he shouldn't have omitted. But it was inadvertent, I'm sure. The bottom line is, she said, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" I said, "The good news is you're both still here. We can fix it." And so we did. We fixed it. We did what's called a restatement. We kept the original name, the original date, so that they wouldn't have to take stuff out of the old trust and put it into a new one. And we just rewrote the entire book.
I heard some horror stories, even though you have a trust and a will and everything, people that are still, older people that are still alive, some siblings go and take a lot of things.
Yes, it's called financial elder abuse.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Financial elder
Yes.
abuse. So what could the other sibling do about it?
Well, one thing they can do is call the police.
Really?
Yes.
Does it happen a lot?
There's a specific division of our state and county governments
Yeah.
to deal with financial elder abuse.
Because they're vulnerable.
They are extremely vulnerable. And so the law enforcement will come down hard.
On the
Oh, yeah.
sibling that is taking
Yeah.
things.
And then if the elder, if that senior person
Yeah.
is competent
Yeah.
and able to think and connect the dots, they can take steps. I had one client who had a daughter embezzle $1.3 million.
And she had siblings, or
Oh, yeah.
she was the only one?
She had 3 daughters.
Yeah.
One of them was not a good kid
Yeah.
and got caught.
Wow.
And the police were called
Yeah.
and they got involved.
And what happened?
This one decided that it would be a good idea to sell her house and give all of the proceeds to her mother,
Instead of going to jail?
which she did. And we rewrote the trust and cut her out. She was disinherited.
So she gave her the house
No.
and they cut her out.
Yes.
And they cut her out.
Yeah.
So she
You
came
don't
with
get
nothing.
2 chances.
Oh, she.
You don't get 2 chances.
Oh, my goodness. So if you have a trust, I guess it must be good for animals. If somebody has an animal, do you put it in a trust?
I've had people leave money to care for their cats and dogs. My strangest was a couple who had 3 horses and a donkey, and they left money to care for their 3 horses and a donkey in case they died.
Yeah?
Yeah, $3,000 a year per animal, based on an estimated life expectancy
Yeah?
at the time of the death of my clients,
Yeah.
to a stable where the animals were housed. And so, yeah, it's not unusual.
Yeah. Wow. So where do you keep the papers?
Anywhere but a bank safety deposit box,
Why?
because banks are never open when you need them. And If you're not a signator on the bank box, and if you don't have a key to the bank box, the bank will require you to go and open a probate and get letters testamentary appointing you as executor to go to the bank and open the box. I encourage my clients to buy a fire-resistant safe, put it in their home, make sure their children or whoever is their successor trustee knows where that is in the home and has the combination so that they can access their documents. And many of them can be bolted right into the floor.
Wow. I didn't know that you cannot get into your vault even though...
No. If you're not on the paperwork and if you don't have a key, you don't get in there.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's good to know, huh, for people, because... Yeah. Okay, so we almost covered everything. Anything you want to add?
Just in particular, if anybody has any questions about estate planning, or whether they should have an estate plan, or whether they should review an estate plan, they should call a trust attorney. And I say that specifically. Call a trust attorney means call someone who does trusts and estate planning. Don't call someone who does evictions and personal injury and a couple of criminal defenses and all the other things that lawyers do. And 2 or 3 times a year they'll do a trust.
So you want somebody that specializes in estate planning?
Yeah.
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 Wow, we're running out of time. It was so nice having you here.
Well, it was my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what I love doing.
So if somebody wants to reach you, how do they reach you?
They can call me. My number is 949-243-0622, or they can call me. They can go on my website.
Your name
GersonTrustLaw.com. GersonTrustlaw, all one word, .com. And they can contact me there. They can email me at dgerson@gersontrustlaw.com.
And if they call you, you're going to ask them, where'd you hear from me? How did you hear from me?
I always do. I like to be able to thank people. Most of my clients come from old clients. And I like to be able to thank them for thinking of me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. And next time we'll have another interesting guest. Thank you.